Okay, I'm going to talk about the different weight loss programs here at Phuket Cleanse. The first one is I'm on a holiday, I want to enjoy the raw food, I don't want to suffer that much, I just want to have a good time. And that's a great program to do because it's still healthy and it's a slow, gentle approach to weight loss. Basically, you'd have a shake or some juice in the morning, preferably a protein shake, a low glycemic, no fruit protein shake. You wouldn't have anything from breakfast, which is the shake, until lunch, which would be at 11 o'clock, because we want you to deplete your stored sugars, which are stored in the form of glycogen. We want you to deplete that between every meal. At lunch, we will give you a raw food buffet. You can enjoy anything on it. It's going to be very low carb. We don't really have fruit on the buffet. Every once in a while you might see a little bit of a mango salsa, but there really isn't any fruit because we're going low carb, raw, vegan. After lunch, we're going to do the same thing. You're going to have a little mini fast from the end of your lunch all the way to dinner. And again, the concept is to allow you to burn off your glycogen stores. And the same thing, after dinner, no snacks. And the raw food dinner will be the same as lunch, a raw food, raw vegan buffet, no carbs. It's nice. You could have an occasional fruit juice here and there, but you're not going to be so strict. And that's a good weight loss program. But if you're feeling like you're not losing as much weight as you want, you could go just a bit stricter. And that would mean to cut your carbs out even more. You would want to go into a state called ketosis. Now, ketosis is an interesting state. It's perfect for somebody who has suffered a poor metabolism for a while. People who have suffered a poor metabolism find that it's almost impossible to lose weight. And the concept of doing what's called a ketogenic diet is to bring you into metabolic excellence. So if you feel you're in metabolic failure, know if you go into this diet, you will be able to label yourself as being in metabolic excellence. But this is the road less traveled, and it requires a lot of discipline. Now, it's quite similar to the diet that I just mentioned for anybody, but you will not be allowed to have fruit juice at all, and you won't be allowed to have fruit at all. We're going to keep you on a low-carb diet. You're going to have to also be careful with things like beet juice or beets or sweet vegetables such as carrots. So it'll be quite enjoyable, but it's just going to be strict in that we're going to really cut your carbs back. Now, why this may be difficult is the concept of ketosis is that right now you're probably living off of glucose as fuel. Meaning that you eat carbs, and the carbs are broken down, and the carbs are broken down into glucose, which is used by your cells for energy. This is how most of us survive. But if you allow yourself to get off of carbs or be very, very, very carb restricted, you go into a state of hypoglycemia. Ooh, I know that sounds scary. It is. It's horrible. It's not fun being in hypoglycemia at all. But by being in hypoglycemia, this means that your blood sugar levels are very, very low. And it sends an alarm to the body that glucose can't be your primary fuel source anymore, that the body has to start producing its own energy to fuel the body because there's just not enough carbohydrates available. And then your body starts producing what's called ketones. And ketones are a backup fuel source produced by the liver. When you're in ketosis, you're in metabolic excellence. You will lose that weight. If you haven't been able to lose that weight, you will lose that weight. But the challenge is going from that state of hypoglycemia into ketosis. And this could take a little bit. Some say to be fully what's called fat adapted, meaning that you're burning fat for fuel as opposed to the external carbohydrates you're receiving, that it could take 4 to 6 weeks. That means that when you're fat adapted, your body totally is used to using ketones. It's not looking for glucose anymore. You don't have you might experience a bit of depression, a little bit of lethargy as you're moving from hypoglycemia to ketosis. So it is a little bit challenging. The challenge again in this is compliance. Can you be compliant? Can you be disciplined? Can you move through this little bit challenging state. One of the things that you can have instead of carbs is you can have lots of coconut oil or coconut butter. That'll give your body some extra energy to burn as a fuel source while you're moving into ketosis. The body will not look at the fat as something that it wants to store. Fat and anything carbohydrates are looked at very metabolically different by the body. Carbohydrates will be stored as fat. It also causes what's called an insulin response, which means that when insulin is triggered, blood sugar or sugar is taken to the different cells, and it can be stored as fat, and it makes it very difficult for you to lose weight. When you take in fat as a fuel source, there's no insulin response at all. So that the calories from that fat can be looked at as neutral calories. So avocados would be okay, coconut oil will be okay. If you were outside of here, you could probably have grass-fed butter. We don't do that here because we're a raw vegan detox center, but that could be something you have to kind of get you through that state of hypoglycemia to ketosis. At least you have this fat as an energy source. So coconut oil is a wonderful, wonderful nutritional supplement to get you through it, and it will have a lot of benefits for you besides just helping you to lose weight. It's also used in a candida cleanse. It's also used for a mineral supplement. There's so many benefits of coconut oil. So that's what I'd like to give you as you're going into ketosis. So this is something that could be a long-term diet plan for you. It's very interesting to know that once you're in ketosis, this is a very good therapy for preventing cancer, and also if one has cancer, it's a good therapy for eliminating the cancer, because cancer cells survive off of sugars, and cancer cells are not metabolically variable as you are. When I say you're metabolically variable, you depend on glucose right now, but you could switch to ketones. You could switch to ketosis, but cancer cells cannot. And so this is something the whole world should know about. So if you know somebody that has cancer, I would suggest that they research about a ketogenic diet. So there's numerous benefits of a ketogenic diet. If you'd like to listen to a doctor explain it and look at his physical performance on the diet and the amount of muscle and strength and endurance he has, research Dr. Peter Attia, Attia. Also look at some of his workouts online that he does, just extreme fitness with no carbohydrates. So it shows that you don't need carbohydrates as a sustainable fuel. Well, carbohydrates are not a sustainable fuel source. So, but there is a little bit of lethargy during that transition period. So this is this is good news if you've had trouble losing weight in the past. So, but it's not required. It's just an option that we can put you on if you feel the need to go really deep into metabolic excellence.